Okay, in this example what we're going to be doing is we're going to add some labels to our buttons. We're going to be doing this through code there, and we're also going to be setting the background colours using some code. So the way we're going to work is using separate script files. This is probably the best practice, and so we will start off in that way and not deviate really. What we're going to do is we're going to create a main class file. So this is going to require that we save our file, and it needs to be in a folder of its own really, so that the class files all relate to the flash file that we're working in. So you'll hear me referring to a class file, and that's the script file that we're working with. You'll hear me referring to the FLA, which is the flash file that we keep all our graphics in, and two things are linked together. So this can just be called U12 app, and then I'll save this as application. Okay. So what I do is I create a class file, and I'm going to do that from the application FLA. It's called main. Has a capital M. All class files start with capital letters. That's a convention. I click on the edit class definition. It'll tell me it doesn't exist. I click OK. Then I click it again and I click OK for Flash Professional. This only happens the first time you create it. Then I save this file. The convention is, and this will only work one way, the file name has to be exactly the same as the class name, which also has to be exactly the same as the function within that class. So main is the name of the file, main is the name of the class, main is the name of the function that is first called. We can have other functions as well. Effectively, as I save that in the same folder, the public function main, which has this little tag here that says constructor code, that's a comment, doesn't actually get compiled. This is what's run when the movie is run. So an example would be to just show you a little trace statement. A trace just puts something in the output window, so we'll just put in a trace running to see that working. And we need to remember to save our ActionScript files before we test them. So I can test by using Control and Enter at the same time, and then we'll just see down here in the output window it says running. That shows you that that's happening. The output window's quite useful for that purpose. So in there is where we will be setting certain values. Before we do that, we need to tell each instance of that movie clip what they are, and we do that by selecting, then going to properties and giving them a name. So this can be organization, normally use the _MC extension so we know what's what. And this one can be trends _MC. This one can be contractual _MC. Obviously these are going to represent different pages eventually. This can be regulatory _MC, and then this one can just be jobs _MC. And so what we're going to do is copy and paste these names into lines on here, so that we've got them exactly the same as they are, because they have to match. Everything in Flash and in ActionScript is case sensitive. Okay. Nice one. Okay, so it's worth remembering that action script not only is case sensitive, but it runs in a system called dot syntax. That means is, you use dots to punctuate, so we can access properties of movie clips. We can access methods of movie clips, do all sorts of things, access addresses of things. If, for example, like this on line 3, import flash.display.movieclip actually refers to a folder called flash, which has got a folder called display inside of it, which has got a file called movieclip inside of that. All we're going to do at this point is refer to each one of these having something called underscore label, and we're going to call it text equals, and then we will just call this organization, and I'll just copy and paste this long bit off the end onto the end of each one of these. Save at that point and just see what we've got, and you'll notice that all of them are called organisation. You're also getting an error down there. Well, it's not an error, but it's a reminder that any text that we use should be embedded. So whilst I go to the library for application, I can just create new font, not new folder. There we go. And it should pick up the font that I've got selected at the moment. We'll probably only use uppercase, lowercase, but it might be worth having numerals and punctuation just in case we use this elsewhere. The name can be font 1, or it can just be the name of the typeface. Okay, and then we shouldn't get that error anymore. There we go. So they're all labelled organisation. That's a starting point. So obviously, with this one we can call it industry trends. This one can be contracts. This one can be regulations, and this one can just be jobs for now. Save that file again and test it again, and there we go. Okay, so we have got movie clips, which are a slightly more complex way of achieving this. We could use simple buttons, but simple buttons limit us to what we can achieve, and so therefore we've opted to go straight into what's known as a movie clip, which gives us much higher level interaction possibilities. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is set up each one of those with a colour, and I think what I'll do is I'll declare a function, and let's call it init buttons. And what this will do is it will just pull all of these buttons and we will change the colours for that specific button. So what I'll do is I'll put underscore MC, which can refer to the movie clip that we pass to it. And all this is about is saving a bit of time by only doing this once or in less lines of code. So what we're going to do is have a variable called color trans, which is going to represent our color transformation. When I press return on that, it should give me an import of that because I've followed the code hinting. Okay, so that color transform equals new color transform should be top of the list. That's correct. Some brackets, and then we will be able to set some properties for that. So what we'll have then perhaps is the colour, which we'll send to it, and that will be colour. That should be X. Actually, that will be a U integer, which is a special kind of number. We'll use a hexadecimal code for the colour. So colour trans dot colour, and then that will equal colour. So we're going to send that colour to this. We're also going to have to then attach this to underscore MC dot transform dot colour transform, this time with a lower case c, equals colour trans, the variable I've used to hold those that piece of information. And then what we'll do is we'll just test that on 1 before we move on. Let's give it a random colour. Actually, so I just need colour, call the function that I created, init buttons, and in there I put the movie clip name, so organisation. Actually, underscore MC, then a comma, and then the colour we want to put in there. And I'll just choose a colour using swatch picker. Let's say, for example, this one can be 33CC99. Okay, so that will be naught times 33CC99. Okay, and one other thing I just need to do is to make sure we change the swatch, underscore swatch, and not the actual movie clip itself. Otherwise the text would be changed as well. Okay, let's give that a test and see if we'll get anywhere with it. One little error to figure out. Okay, so we'll just double check that swatch exists. It doesn't exist, so underscore swatch. Okay, and that should allow us to change the background colour. So I'll just save that again and test it. There we go, background colour changed, so we can do that again by simply copying and pasting this, changing the name to a different one. So let's say for instance we go trends, and then changing the colour to something else. So let's go back to here and colour pick something else. 99cc. Save that, test it. Okay, and so you can carry that forwards and make all the ones have a different colour, a different label, and we'll end the video there.